Okay.
Okay, so let's start our session. Well, the idea today is to show you how to create content in Moodle courses. We are going to focus mainly on Moodle, and the process will be more or less like this. I will show you some functionality or ask you to use it, and then I will show you how to build something similar to that functionality. So this way we can coordinate our efforts, because when I'm talking and showing something, of course, it's difficult for you to practice. So after, I will give you a few minutes for you to practice and do something similar and try to create the resources and activities that we are going to learn how to create. So I guess everybody has logged in. And when you logged in, you had to change your password. I'm going to simulate here a login, so I'm going to log out here. So to log in, you just press here trainee or trainer, and then you put your email and the password you have just received. You log in. Oh, I just change the login.
Hello.
Okay, please give me 1 more minute. I need to have an account similar as yours.
Not yet. Sorry. No, I'll use my phone.
So that's your okay. Okay, so this is the way we do the login. Okay, and after you log in, you will be asked to change your password, and then you will be able to access this user dashboard. My interface is in Portuguese. I need it to be in English. Let me change here. There's something wrong here on my profile. Edit profile, and language. No, it's on preferences. I'm going to change my profile to English, otherwise you won't be being the same. Preferred English. Okay, so once you log in, you are redirected to this page, dashboard. Everybody is on this page, the dashboard?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a Moodle dashboard. It's not the dashboard we developed for BIMCERT. And only teachers will have access to this dashboard. And here you have access to all the courses you have. And this moment you should have access to 2 courses. One which is called Moodle Training, and one that is called it has your name and then practice course. So the first one is a sample course where you are students, and this is a course where I will show you some functionality of Moodle. And the second course is a course where you are teacher and you will be able to create some content. Okay, so let's move to Moodle Training. Let's have a look at Moodle Training. Let's have a look at this course. We are students here, as I referred. So this account I am using is also a student here. So the only thing I can do is navigate on the course page and access the resources and activities. So here on this area on the center, I will have access to all the resources and activities created on the course. A resource is something static, like a page or a file. An activity means that the student will have to perform some activity, like submitting a quiz or submitting an assignment. So let's start having a look at the first resource, which is the easiest one to create, which is the page. So if you see here, the first resource here is welcome to the course. And if you click, you will have access to the content of this page. So you can have text, headings, images, video, audio, whatever you want, tables. You can have a lot of information going on one page. So the purpose of the page is, as the name says, it's a page to deliver some content to your students. A welcome page, a syllabus page, whatever you need to show to the students using your page. So now I'm going to show you how to create a page. So first I'm going to the other course where I am a teacher. So I will going to click here on the dashboard to get back to the course list. And then I'm going to enter to the test user, which is me, practice course. And here I have access to an empty course. This course is completely empty, and I have an announcements forum. So can you check, please, if you can access your practice course?
Yeah.
Okay. So first difference, the main difference, what is really important for a teacher is this wheel here. This wheel here allows access to the settings, and only the teachers can have access to this wheel here. So you can edit settings, you can turn editing on is what you will be doing almost every time you want to create content for your course. So that's what we are going to do now. We are going to turn editing on. So once you turn editing on, the page changes and you can edit all the resources and activities that are available on your course. You can edit all the topics, all the sections that you have on your course, and you can add activity or resources. So there is no hard to use back office where you insert the content. No, you insert the content exactly on the same place as the student accesses the content. So this makes it really easy to understand and to use. So our purpose was to add a page. So let's add our first page. I choose a topic where I want to add the page. For instance, I'm going to add it here on topic 1. And let's change the name. Topic 1, session 1. So this is the session 1 activity. Okay, so you can use this pencil here to edit everything, every name that is on the course. And then you can click here, add an activity or resource to add whatever you want to your course. So I will give you a few seconds for you to change topic 1 to session 1 and to press here the add activity or resource, turn editing on, of course, and press add an activity or resource. So I guess we are all here. So let's move on. So activities are the first on the list. Now we are looking at the resources. So let's move down. Here is the page resource. So once I select the page resource, I click add. And here I am on the interface to create the page. Every activity or resource has a name, and the name is what appears on the course main page. So the student will click on this name to access this resource. So try to give a name that is comprehensive for the student and he can understand what is the content of this resource or activity. So I can just write welcome page or just welcome to the course. Okay, description. This is something that for most of activities and resources is not needed. So I will skip this and leave it in blank. The page content, this is what is important. What you write here is what is going to be shown to the student. So you just start typing here. I will copy and paste here some text just to show. Okay. So you can use all these functionalities that are here. The majority of them are pretty obvious. So list of bullets or list of numbers, numbering list or order or unordered list. So you can use bold, italic, you can use styles. So I can create here a heading and apply a style, heading large, okay? And you can use several levels of headings and so on. So this is a pretty easy functions. We will not extend here many time talking about this, but let's talk about something that is a little bit more not so easy to use, which are, for instance, the links and the images. Let's start by inserting an image. So if I want to insert an image, I will just put the cursor exactly where I want to insert the image. And I'm going to place the cursor here on the beginning of a paragraph because I want to show you something about images. And then I'm going to press this button. Okay, and when you enter an image, either you know the URL of the image because it's already available on the internet, or you have to upload that image in to the server for it to be available to your students. So usually you will press this button here, browse repositories, to access the files that are available or upload a file. Okay, I'm going to press here, browse repositories, and this is the file picker you will be using a lot of times. And here you have the upload the file, which will be the repository that you will use the most. So you just press here, choose a file, and then you will be searching your computer for a file. So I'm just going to find an image, a small image. So I have here a photo. It's a small image. I'm going to place the photo there. So I just upload I just select the photo, and then I press upload this file. Okay, finally, I'm on the screen, just the final step. Well, I could try to save this, and this is something that happens a lot, even with some experience. I always press the button save and I forget that images must have a description, except if the description has not been set. For accessibility reasons, you should give some description to your images because some people might have some trouble seeing the image, and if they have a description, the screen reader will read the description. Well, I'm going to check here the box description not necessary because I just don't want to write nothing. And finally, I press image. And here it is. I have here my image. So I will give you a few seconds for you to just do the same thing. Just play a little bit with the bold italics, bullets, numberings, and insert the picture. And then we will get back to some more functions here of the editor.
Hello, Eric. Good morning. I just sent you an email a few minutes ago. We have 2 events running today on E3, and we need some passwords for wireless access for the internet. Did you send an email? Oh, just right now. Okay. Thanks. Cheers. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Hospitals follow them, people, you know that?
It wasn't here.
Hospitals follow them, call patients. Where the line, there's not line, the line and trolleys in Dublin.
Okay, if we can move on. If somebody is still in the process of experiencing these functions, please tell me. I will assume that we can move on.
Maybe just wait for a second, because we're.
Just 1 second, we're having
They're playing catch up here, Antonio. Give us a couple of seconds,
we're
please.
having an issue with internet here.
Okay.
The internet has gone down for a second there. Let's back up.
Okay, when you're ready to go, please tell me.
Oh yeah. How do you get on? Yeah, no, the her Barry get on.
Oh, I love that.
Here's the blind fella. Your place.
Skills competition.
He's the boy costing the guy.
Who?
He's the boy costing the guy at the show. I'd have to stay hard. He's coming home right now with 4 others.
This is a big one.
Okay, great.
It's very weird.
That's right, that's all right.
Did he meet up with the contact again?
Yeah. He's like already organized that before that. I never for just over half an hour.
Go ahead. On a page.
Yes.
Okay, can we move on?
No.
No, just not yet.
Give us 2 seconds or because they're trying to get logged on here. They've now got passwords for Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Can we move on to that text up, can we?
Oh, that's for the events.
Was use that one?
Yes.
Events?
Yes. That's all caps, is it?
No.
Antonio, you said that we could place an image from the internet, kind of a URL for an image instead of uploading it.
Yes.
Let's try and do that.
The problem is that you need to know where the correct.
The actual server address of the image on the internet site, isn't it? Which is hard to kind of find out.
Well, if you right click on the image, and you usually have access to it, but you have also here an option if you are looking at my screen. Once you press here browser repositories, you have here the URL downloader. So you can try to find a site. Majority of sites will allow you to. Some won't allow it because they have some protection. This is one that doesn't allow. So let me just look at Moodle.org or
Oh, I already got it.
Energy BIMCERT on EU.
Are they all caps?
Well, a lot of
Exactly like they're some of caps, some are small caps. Should be exactly like they're there. That's a G there, is it?
Or 9.
okay, a lot of sites are protected, but here is an example. Moodle.org allows you to navigate on their images and choose one. So choose this image and select this file.
Oh, wow, you're right.
T, okay.
0. Cool.
That's a 0, is it?
0.
Right.
4.
Okay, anyway, depending on a external image is a little bit risky because websites change.
I know. But I was just wondering if we could do it. I already did it here, so it works. I'm just thinking because of, do we have some videos on for training, and they're quite big. So I was just thinking, I'm not too sure what is the capacity of the server for the platform. So it'll probably, would we be best off instead of actually uploading a video to place on the page, to actually place a URL of that video?
Yes, where is the video?
Drive or something like that.
YouTube, Vimeo. The video is published on YouTube or Vimeo or something like that.
We have some on YouTube, and we have some of them are on a particular Google Drive.
Okay.
So is it possible to redirect the link of a video to the Google Drive?
Let's check it here. I will check it here. Just wait. I will have to ask here for this moment it's not easy to, there's a plugin to connect to Google Drive. We have not installed it, but let's check here.
Oh, I'm buying them. There's an observer.
Send me the link from if we're producing.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we will find here some way to publish the videos. Well, is everything fine now? Can we move on?
Give me just 2 seconds. Antonio 1.
Yeah.
Can you extend an invitation to Barry in CITB, please? He wants to
Barry,
join. He's not in the original list, and he's free now from a meeting, and he wants to join in just as an observer for an hour.
which invitation? This conference call or the access to the platform?
No conference call, so we can sit as an observer.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sure.
I tried to send it, but it's your invitation.
Welcome to BIMCERT.
I have to get to meet that person. I listened to it 1,000 times.
I know.
It's almost like blind date.
Really? But I'm never.
There's somebody at Barry right up in the corner graph.
She's done loads of our voiceovers.
Why? In these strange women.
I can't help it. I'm just like a beacon person.
That's a great channel thing. Can you do that? Or you have the voice for them, sorry.
Voiceover are strange. Every time there's in the series afterwards, I just hear Cersei from Game of Thrones. It just confuses me.
I know, back online.
Oh, there's some pastries and stuff here.
Thank you. Thank you.
How long are we staying, Barry?
Oh, I don't mind. We'll go the next half an hour.
You didn't spend it all.
Did you receive already?
Has Barry received the...
Barry, you received an email?
Yeah, a couple there.
Yeah, he's received. Antonio.
Okay.
Your homework assignments. Oh, next week, 12. Yeah.
Thursday.
just see five. I'll just see. Okay.
Hey, what do we wait now?
All okay this side, Antonio?
Yes.
Are you getting a feedback from here?
No. So I didn't get, can we move on?
Please, yes.
Okay. So
Diana and Tony, okay, your side?
no answer.
Tony and Diana, okay?
I'm okay.
Yeah, that's okay. Go ahead then.
Okay, so let's move on. So we have just created our first page and placed an image. Well, I can save and return to the course to see my first page. Here it is, welcome to the course. Okay, I still have the editing mode on. So if I want to make some changes to the page, I can do it anytime. I have here the edit settings available. And also I want to show that this is not the only way to edit your page. If you click to see your page, here is the page. I have also here a wheel because I'm the owner of this page and I can edit the settings of the page. So I can always come back to the editing screen and change my settings. I just wanted to show you some setting here with the images, which is sometimes useful. I can always get back to the image inserting screen tool. So I just click here on the image, and I press again the insert image. And now I'm going to change something here to show you. This sometimes is useful. The alignment left, right, I'm going to choose right. When you choose left or right alignment, the image will merge with the text. Okay, so the image was here on the first line and it was occupying a huge space. Now it's merged with the text. So this is something that you might think as useful. So let's move on and let's talk about inserting videos. Sometimes you want to insert a video in a page. In fact, it's a way to make videos available to your students. It's to create a page, put some title, put some information previous to the video, and then insert the video on the page. So to insert a video, we have here this insert or edit an audio video file button. Once I press this button, I will have here several options on the tabs. You should select the correct tab, either a video or audio or a link. So if you want to make a video available, you should press here video, and then you can choose here browse repositories, and you have a lot of options. Once again, upload file will be the most used one. I'm going to choose file, and I have here some media, and I have here a video, which is Pixar MP4, and I'm going to upload this file. So uploading a video takes a while, and if the video is very big, it will take a while. So I will show you some other options that we were discussing a few minutes ago. So, but before inserting this video, I just want to call your attention to this set of options you have here. Display options, you can change the title, the size of the video, you can change a thumbnail, the static picture that appears. You can show or hide the controls. The controls are the play, pause of the video. You can choose to play automatically the video. Once the student enters the page, the video will start playing. You can mute or loop the video. You can also add some subtitles, and this is something interesting. The subtitles will have to be in format web VTT, so it's one standard for subtitles. It's a easy standard. It's like a text file with the times and the subtitles. So you can search if you are interested in making subtitles available, and you can have several in several languages. You can explore this. Web VTT is the format, and you can add subtitles, captions, descriptions, chapters, metadata. And this is an interesting option to make your videos more accessible by all the users. So here I have my video. I'm going to save and display, and the video automatically starts playing. Okay. And I'm going to edit the settings. Well, before we stop, I just want to show you. I have to change the video settings because it's playing all the time. Okay, now it's not playing anymore. Okay, so, well, you asked me about YouTube videos, about Drive videos, so I'm going to show you how to publish YouTube videos very easily, or Vimeo videos. You just press Insert Media Video, then you copy the URL of your video. I have here your
design teams to analyze and
BIMCERT video. I'm going to copy the URL, paste it here. Video source URL, you paste here a YouTube video, insert media, and Moodle will do the job for you. It will embed it. If you have a Google Drive video, I'm showing here, I have a Google Drive video here, this file. I just press share and get a shareable link. This link, I copy it, and then here I do exactly the same process. I insert a video, I paste the link here on video, I paste the link, insert media, and here is a Google Drive video that is available on this page. I'm going to save and display and check everything is working. YouTube video working.
and sustainability.
Google Drive video not working. I have to check what happened. Oh, well, I think the video is still processing. Oh no, it's already ready. Okay, so it didn't work. While you try these functions, I will check here. Check here, what did I do wrong? Okay, you can insert your videos now and see if everything works okay.
Antonio, just a question. Can we change the alignment of a video on the page?
Well, that's not easy. I don't think.
So, never mind if it's not. Oh yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I see it. I see it.
You should always check save and display, because sometimes it just ignores your. Okay.
How do you get videos from the drive? I forward you everything.
You need to go into
Well, you can put Google Drive videos working, but we have to install a plugin and we have to configure the connection. We have to have an account to configure the connection to the Google Drive API. It is possible to play a video from a Google Drive account, but it's not an easy process. We have to configure it. If you want us to configure, just send us the access credentials for a Google Drive account and we will configure it for you.
Okay.
Okay, any questions about the video? Can we move on?
Maybe can we speak a little bit more, because all of our material is on the drive. So that'll be a big part of our work, getting these videos from the drive onto the platform. So how do we make that easier?
Do we have to supply you the share link to the drive, and then you can configure that share link to the platform? Is that it?
No, you have to give us a Drive account credentials, because we have to connect it to Moodle. So I'm going to show you on another Moodle. I think here I have that connection created. So let me just get a course here. Well, any course here. So I'm going to turn everything on, and then I'm going to add an activity or resource, a page, exactly the same we have been doing. And let me just check here if I have the Google. Okay, so after I will press here on insert video, and here on video, when I browse repositories, yes, I have here the Google Drive login. I have to log into my account, and this is, the API is not configured. So once you log into your, you have to renew the API every year. This is a boring process, but to have this Google Drive connection working, it's you have to do it. So you can log into your account, you can access the videos, and then you just press, you want to make one video available through Google Drive, and the video will be available. I will be able to explain you if you just send me an account. It doesn't need to be a specific account. You can create one account just for this purpose, to create the API connection.
Yeah, that might be easier.
And it can be an empty account, because after we have the connection, you can log into any account. As you can see here, I press login to my account to log into any account where the videos are, and then make the videos available. Okay. So let's move on. I'm just going to edit the settings to see if there are more settings here that are interesting. There is one thing here. Well, I'm wasting a little bit, or not wasting, I'm spending a little time here on the Moodle editor, because the Moodle editor is everywhere. If you create a quiz question, you can use all these functionalities. You create a quiz, you can create a quiz with images, with video, with everything you want. So if you create a forum post, every information that you insert on Moodle, you will be using the text editor. So this is a very important tool that you should be able to use with no issues. So I'm just going to talk a little bit more of some that may be useful for you. Well, the link function is really easy after the ones we have just seen. I just select a word or a set of words, and I press here the insert link. And here I have two options. Either I paste here a URL for the file or for the page I want to link, or I browse repositories and I upload a file. So you can create links to files that you upload to the server, and this can be really useful when you have, for instance, an assignment and you want to give some instructions to your students, and you want also to deliver them some files, so you can create links to those files for him to download the files. So you just press choose a file, and the process is the same as the previous we saw. One thing I would like to reinforce is the need to press here, open a new window. It's always the best practice to open external links and external files on new windows, because the user might close the window. If you don't press open the window, the user just goes to the file, then he closes the file window, and he will leave the platform because it just closed every windows. So open new windows I recommend you to use. What else can we talk here? There's something really practical here. Record a video or record the audio. If you just want to send a message to a student or you just want to put some content on a lesson and you don't want to write it, you prefer to just say it on your webcam, you just have this possibility. I'm going to insert here in your row, press here record video, start recording. Okay, BIMCERT wants to use my camera. Here it is. So I'm just recording the video. Let's 4 seconds is enough. Attach recording, and here is the video. The students can play it anytime. So record audio, it works exactly the same way. So then you have here underlines, strikeout, subscripts, superscript. Functions down here you access using this first icon here. Okay, so to extend the functions of your editor, you have here these functions here, aligns, indents, and you have here equation editors. I don't know if some of you work with the text convention for writing formulas. You are familiar with text or LaTeX convention. You can use the editor here. You can paste here equations in the text editor. So something like square roots, and you can insert here fraction and so on. So as you can see here on the equation preview, I am writing equation using the text format, and it being automatically converted to an image. So if you are familiar and you have content using text convention, you can use it on Moodle with no problems.
Sorry, I'm having an error here. I'm trying to upload a video from YouTube. So I go to, I go to YouTube and I copy the URL. And then whenever I go to insert video, I go to video URL. So I go to insert audio video file. I put video source of URL. I place it there, insert media, and I get the message of invalid source.
Okay, so can you send me the link of the video on the chat for me to see it?
Yeah.
Well, where is the chat?
Okay, this is going to be complicated. Give me 1 second.
I cannot see the chat. I'm sharing my screen. I cannot see the buttons. Well, I have to move this here, I guess.
No, it's a particular one. It's not for just give me 1 second because Paul has the.
I'm trying to get the link from Paul. Super. No, I can't see it. Just take it on off the screen.
I think so. You know, okay.
You're right. Do you want us to give you a wave? Do you know what else? He smells really good as well.
Just give me 1 second here.
I don't know what he's calling, but it's, yeah, it's nice.
Section.
All right. Thanks. Thanks, bye.
Empty door. Let's take that
Right,
right.
you can see it.
Who's empty now? Come on, have you?
Give him a wave.
Yes.
You've seen it, have you?
Yeah. Aqualung.
How do I
Was it?
minimize
Was it Aqualung or Aqualung?
No, it's in Angerman.
Yeah, but doesn't he do some flute thing or something?
rush as well, getting ready tomorrow because I woke up and share with that.
John, you can continue the training. I'll email you this in a second. So
Okay, so I'm just going to choose another video randomly and show you if there's any process that we are missing. So I just put the URL here on the top, and then I will come
it's not
here,
working, so it could be just me.
and then I insert the video using this insert media. Don't forget to change to the video tab first. Video source URL, I paste the URL and I press insert media. And it is here, let's save and display.
Okay, yeah.
And it's working.
Show me your friends and I'll show you your.
Pay attention.
Okay, so I don't know if okay, so let's move on. Insert equations, and this is it. Okay, if you are familiar to HTML, you can press this button here on the right, and this button will allow you to see the HTML version of what you are inserting. So this editor here is the HTML editor. We are writing exactly what will be sent to the browser in the form of the HTML language, which is the browser language. Okay.
So I just sent you the URL of that video. It says invalid source for me. So I'm not too sure if it's a problem with that particular URL.
Let me just check. I cannot see the video.
What's the technology behind?
I think there's something wrong on the link. I'm going to delete this time. Let me just check here a video regular. Okay, watch. So I'm going to delete everything here that is on the watch time continue.
Grammarly does.
Watch time continue. I'm going to delete this and just press this. Okay. Now
what's the technology behind many?
The video started. So there was something wrong on that link, something that you just did and was recorded on the link, and it didn't work here. So I'm going to insert media. Here it is, save and display, and it's working. So it's working. So here you have the video.
What's the technology behind many of the iconic architectural structures being built?
I just sent you the video link without that code. So you can.
So you took out the watch time continue, okay.
Did you receive it, the link?
No, you send it to me, but now I shared with the whole.
So sorry, I just changed to everyone. Okay.
Okay.
So, okay, so let's just have a look. Every resource and every other activity in Moodle have several settings, and we have just seen the first settings. We have here always some settings, but these are not relevant. Display page description on the course page, display last modified date. So if you don't want the last modified date to appear, you can just uncheck this box. Then we have here common model settings, which we will see on every model. We will see every resource or activity, restricts access, activity completion. So we have a look at these later. For now, all these settings that are here, we are going to leave them as they are. So save and return to the course. We have our first page. Okay. Well, let's have a look what other contents we have here. I'm going to the dashboard, and I'm going back to the Moodle training course. And well, next we have here two other resources. We have book resource and I know it's a book resource because the icon reveals which activity is the one that I have here. So when I press this book, I just access this page, and I have here these arrows that allow me to continue seeing other pages. Okay, so the book resource, it's a sequence of pages. You have also an index, a table of contents here on the right column. You have the sequence of pages here. So why is this useful? You can always upload your documents as PDF files, and students can download that PDF file. Why use books? Books, it's a lot of work if you have to insert all this content here. Well, because you can use all the interactive content you have seen, you can insert videos, you can insert audios, you can record a video and place it on the content, and it's much more mobile friendly, a book resource than a PDF. A PDF just resizes the content for it to be really small, while the book content will adapt to the screen size. So adding a book, it's really easy. I'm going to show you how to do it. So I'm going back to my dashboard. I'm going back to the course where I am a teacher. I'm going to turn editing on, and I'm add a resource. This is a book resource, which is here. Okay, so let's all add a book resource.
Antonio, sorry to interrupt. If you do a book resource, I would assume then that the students cannot download that content; they can only watch it over the platform, unless there's a link or something.
Yeah.
If you're adding a PDF, for example, on the platform, can you restrict if students are able to actually download? Can you put documents that you place on the platform just as view mode and not allow download?
Well, you know, that is really difficult to do because there are always students that can crack the page and start downloading the information. So PDF is downloadable without question. The book, you can copy the content page by page. It's a lot of work, but you can copy it. It has the disadvantage of being editable because you copy HTML text, so you can copy it to a Word and you have editable text. Well, to have information inaccessible, it's not easy. You can publish information as Flash files or something, but it's not something easy to do.
Okay.
Students can always copy, and that as a last resource they can print screen and then they put it on a OCR program and it recognizes all the text and converts it to text. So not an easy question to answer. So let's create our first book. So I'm going to call it course manual.
Sorry, we're a bit lost.
He's showing how to create books.
Yeah, so we're on session 1.
Session 1, if you go, for example, for any topic.
Oh, okay.
And then if you go to add activity or resource. And
Where is
then
that activity?
if you go to one of the topics there, add activity and resource, like you did with the
On
page.
the topic, what?
And then if you scroll down, so
I clicked on it.
Okay, so everybody is adding a book now.
2 seconds, 2 seconds, please.
Give me 1 second.
We're playing catch up here. It's not helped that it's Portuguese given the tuition, and in the room here we also have Portuguese in the tuition. So it's the modern day equivalent of double Dutch, only it's double Portuguese.
What is Portuguese?
You'd be so lucky.
Who said that? Antonio 1, please instruct Antonio 2.
O Paulo está a dizer que há 2 portugueses, um a explicar à distância, outro na sala, e que dá confusão.
There's no call to speak of me in such derogatory terms, please, Antonio. One.
Nobody said. I haven't talked with Cooper and said no.
I'm like, gonna go. She was sent out long ago. I know the referee actually did a great job. The only thing that I thought that I still don't know why you did not carry guy. What's up with them?
Big mistake in the penalty.
Yeah.
Not enough in it. Are we okay now?
Yes.
Sorry, Antonio, to move ahead, please.
Okay. So I was telling to add a book, add an activity or resource, select here a book file, press add, and here we are. So this is my course manual. I'm going to avoid the. And here on the appearance, I have here several options. So do I want to number my chapters? And please have in mind, books are a really simple tool. So it can have chapters and subchapters, and every page must be either a chapter or a subchapter, okay? No more levels unless you ignore the numbers and you create your own numbers. So you can avoid numbering, and then you can use your own numbering, or you can use numbers or bullets or identity to create the structure of the chapters and subchapters. I'm going to use numbers. And then the style of navigation. You can have the images, which is the arrows, to navigate to the next or previous, or you can have the text instead of the arrows. You will see the chapter name of the previous and next page, or you can select talk only, so you won't have next previous navigation. So you can just try which one fits you better. I'm going to use, you have seen the images one, I've shown you the book with the arrows. I'm going to use the text now. And well, and if you press this custom titles, the title of the page won't appear when the page is shown. So you will be able to create your own titles on the pages. I'm going to explain this now. I won't press custom titles. I'm going to save and display. And first thing I have to do is to have the first page. So add the new chapter. So chapter title, I will write here introduction.
Hold on. Antonio, where did you click to get the new chapter?
I just saved the changes, and immediately Moodle will ask me for the first page of the book, the first chapter.
So we set up a book for being constructed, and each page will be getting.
Okay, and then you will have here the
Portuguese
text editor.
No,
so you will be able to insert everything you have seen you are allowed to insert on a text editor. So let's not spend a lot of time creating the pages. So we're just going to press Save Changes. And here it is. My first page is created. And I am looking at it. And so when I choose number, this is the meaning. I have here a number 1 introduction, number 1 introduction. When I didn't click custom titles, as I didn't click custom titles, the title of the page is automatically placed here by Moodle. So if I had chosen if I had chosen custom titles, no title would appear here, and I would have to write the title on the content of the page. So this is it. We have our first page. How do I create more pages? I just press this plus sign here on the table of contents. So everybody is ready to create the second page? I will assume yes. So just press here, add a new chapter to add a new chapter to the book. And let's give the name, first chapter, and press put some content and save changes. And you can press add a new chapter as many times you want and insert pages on the middle, on the end, on the beginning. And you have here the subchapter option, which allows to create a dependent from the chapter page. So I'm going first subchapter. And I'm going to paste here some content. And save changes. So here it is. Notice that the subchapter has the chapter title automatically placed by Moodle and the subchapter title. Notice also that you can delete, hide, edit, move the order, or add any other chapters. And notice also that the navigation has names, okay? Previous to first chapter and next, okay? So I have previous and so these were the options that we selected on the creation of the book. So I will let you 1 or 2 minutes to just play a little bit with it. And if you want to change the book settings, you can press it. So I'm just going to recall everything. You may edit the settings of the book here on this wheel. You may add chapters, subchapters here on this button. You may change the order using the arrows, edit the page using the, and delete the page or hide the page. So please feel free to try some of those settings.
Antonio, can you add an activity to a book or link an activity to a book? So for example, if the learner is reading a book and gets to a page, if we want them to do a quiz or something, can that be linked to that book?
Well, you can place always the link, but not the way maybe you would like to do it. But there is an activity which is the lesson that allows you to mix pages with questions. So that maybe is suits better your needs. So you can have three pages, then a question. If the student misses the correct answer, he will be sent to the beginning of the first page. If he has the right answer, you can send him whatever you want. So the lesson is a very flexible activity. I think that's better what we intend to do.
Actually, you change a chapter. You've done the first book, you're going to give edit. All right. What chapter you go to? Does that stay in a resource or they could give you later?
Once it's edited, I think it's deleted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's the author, because can you then be control turn editing off on that chapter so nobody else can edit that chapter?
You can hide it. You can hide chapters.
Yeah.
So super safe, yeah.
What you're saying is control that no one can alter it. Antonio, is there a way to, for example, if I'm an administrator on that course, and Barry also is, but I created the book or whatever resource or a lesson, can I restrict the editing mode of that resource just to me? So even though Barry, for example, is also an administrator on that course, he cannot change that resource, only I can.
Well, no, maybe there's some way to do it with the permissions, because Moodle permissions, it's a very flexible setting, but it's not intended to do that. So if you have if you have two teachers inside the same course, they will have the same privileges. You cannot divide. It's better to divide a course in two and have two different teachers than have two teachers interacting on the same course if you don't want them to mess with the other work.
Okay. So in that case, probably the best option is if you have several tutors teaching the same course, having the versions. I think last time around we talked about versions of the same course. Would it be wise to do several versions of the same course for each teacher if you don't want them to mess up each other's work?
Yes.
Here's the best way.
Yes, that's usually the procedure more used. You have different teachers with different materials, so you just create different courses.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of work to get our material on.
And also like that is like a template of how it should look. So that everyone has the same template.
Yeah. At the moment, it's not
Like just the basic. Because otherwise the course will look different for each week, which is not good. Maybe we need to design like a template on MS Word just to know, okay, so the main heading is supposed to be this, or this, that's subtopics, and just send it over.
Yeah, or we could just design do one and so not actually on the platform. Yeah. Yeah. It's easier to show the videos.
Antonio, it's Barry here from CITB. Can I just ask a quick question? Is it okay to add images and hyperlinks into the chapters?
Inside the contents?
Yes.
Yes, of course. You can, even if you want to relate the chapters with each other. For instance, here on the first subchapter, I want to create the link to the first chapter. So I can copy the page I want to create the link, and then edit this one and just create the link here. Create a link. I won't press open in a new window because it's for the same page, for the same Moodle. So now I have here a link. Well, we have to change the link colors because it's not obvious. It's something that I'm going to just send. So I have here a link. If I press the link, I just jump to the other chapter. So you can use links with no problem.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And do books have also an HTML editor?
Yes.
Is it possible to make, for example, a chapter or a page within the book to look more like a web page per se? If you have an HTML that has images or buttons and stuff like that, can you import it HTML to a page and it will display like a website?
Yes, of course. You are inside a website that has a lot of CSS and so on. So maybe importing an entire HTML, it's not the best idea. You should construct it. It's not an easy thing to do, but maybe your website has CSS and you won't be able to upload the CSS here. You can create the HTML, but not the CSS. But you can use Moodle CSS. You can create buttons using Moodle. Use Bootstrap, so you can create using Bootstrap command with no need of external CSS.
I was just thinking something just text and link text. If you could do this more visual, where you have buttons for links and stuff like that.
Yes, you can. Let me just check. Google buttons. Yes, yes. CSS style button. Oh, this is 2009. Well, Moodle uses Bootstrap, as I told you, and Bootstrap has very simple ways to create buttons. So if you use them, you can create those buttons easily. But I would have to find it. Okay, so here it is. No quick answer. Bootstrap CSS for button default and CSS. I know the way, but I cannot answer to it now. Okay, can we move on?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go back to our course page. And now let's see other sorts of content we can have. There are other resource types that are the files. You can add a file to your course. So how to add a file? The easiest way is just to go to the folder where you have the file you want to add, and just like a PDF, I have here a PDF, and just drag it and drop it here. You have to have the editing mode on. So if you don't have the editing mode on, you won't see this add a file here appearing here. So I just drop the file and it will be uploaded. So the file resource, it's a resource like the others, but we can configure it really quickly, dragging and dropping files. So a video file, a zip file, whatever you have, you can have it dragging and dropping it. And then you can edit the settings. You could have created your file resource using the same add an activity or resource, and then dragging and dropping the file here on this area here, instead of dragging and drop directly on the main page. Anyway, here we have some options, like the way the file will be displayed. And sometimes you will have to change this option. Usually it's automatic. If it's not the best option for you, just change it to the other options you have here. Embed the content on Moodle page, open a pop-up, open the file, or force download. Force download means that the student has to download the file to his computer, and then he will be able to see it. This is useful if you want to give him a file for him to work, like an Excel file, a Word file. Just download for him to be forced to download the file to a specific folder and be able to edit the file and change it. Okay, I will leave this automatic and press here Save and Display. No, I will press Save and get to the course page. So if I click the, okay, what happened? It opened the file on the browser. So maybe I think this is maybe not the best option. Because I click the file, it opens on the browser, then I make close the browser, thinking I'm just closing the file. So edit settings. In this case, I would recommend open in pop-up, a new window. Okay, save and return to the course. Now I click the file and it opens in a new window. Okay, this is better. If you want to try the embed, you can try. I don't like the embed very much because there's a lot of screen wasted. Appearance, embed. So here is how PDF looks embedded. It's really confusing because you have two scroll bars, the PDF scroll bar and the Windows scroll bar. So just try it yourself and see which appearance seems better for you, and we will continue. Any question?
Okay, here in Belfast. Go ahead.
Okay, so you can drag and drop any sort of file, as I told you, including videos. I just want you to check here. One video I placed here on Moodle training course. So I'm going back to my dashboard. Then I click on Moodle training, and I have here a video using Moodle. So I'm going to play this video and maximize it. So here it is.
Hello. On this presentation, I'm going to show you how to use Moodle.
As you can see, this is a presentation that is showing a screen.
When you type your Moodle site URL, you will see a page
here.
like this one, which is so everything to see a lot of information about your.
Okay, so this is like giving a class. I am sitting on my chair showing myself on a video, and I have a PowerPoint behind that is changing slides. So this is something that is accessible to everyone. You can do this with PowerPoint. So once you have PowerPoint, you just open a file, and then you have here the slideshow, record slideshow, okay? And once you press record slideshow, well, record slideshow. Yeah, once you press it, you will have access to an interface, not this one that I'm showing, but another one where you can select which webcam you have. Let me just try to swap the screen to show you this. I think I cannot show it. No, unfortunately, I cannot show it. But I have a different screen on my right side on my other computer, other screen that I'm not sharing with you, where I can select which webcam, which microphone I want to use. I can start recording, and everything that I'm saying will be recorded on a video that will be shown on the slide. And on when I finish the presentation, I just save as MP4 file. So everything will be on a video file, video single file, and I can make it available on Moodle. So this is a really easy. There are easier softwares. There are other softwares specifically to do this this kind of presentations and then save them as a video or HTML5 file. This is a very simple way to create a content with a PowerPoint and yourself, your webcam. So only the latest versions of PowerPoint will do this, like I believe from 2016 on, every PowerPoint will record this kind of narrated presentations. So this is really useful tool. And for Moodle, it's just one more video. Well, to finish the resources, I would only like to talk to you about the folder resource. The folder resource, I don't have any folder resource here, so I'm going to create one to show you. It's, as the name says, a folder of files. So if you want to make a set of files available to your students and you don't want to create a link for each file here on the course page, because it's a little bit, it will become a mess, you will have the opportunity to create a folder resource. So let's turn editing on. Oh, that's turn editing on because this just went off. And add an activity or resource, and let's add a folder. Okay, so you just press the name of the folder. And then you drag and drop files here. So, and you can drag several files at the same time. So I'm going just get all these PDF files, drag and drop them here. Save and return to the course. And here is the folder. And here I can enter the folder and see the folder contents. Really easy, right? Okay, any question about the folder?
Okay, no.
So let's move on. Well, I will just show you a quick way to create folders, which is has a lot of advantages. If I want to create a folder with subfolders and subfolders and so on, it can be a very daunting process. So you will have a lot of work. So one easy way is to select all your files and folders you want to create, like this one, and then create a zip file. Zip, the extension must be zip. Then you drag your zip and drop it on the course page with editing turned on, and just ignore this question and press upload. And here it is, the folder here created. Once you get into the folder, just have a look. It has subfolders, it has files inside the subfolders, so everything was created in one drag and drop all this structure of folders and subfolders. If I edit here the settings, you will see that you have the possibility to have subfolders. You have here the create folder button. So all these files and folders and files inside the folders were created in a single drag and drop operation. So if you have something like this, which is not useful, which is not very, it doesn't happen very often, but if you have it, just drag and drop a zip and it will make your life easy. So we have to move on to the next task we have. So let's get back here to the Moodle training course. And I would suggest you all to start an attempt on this quiz. We have here a quiz, which is the Using Moodle quiz. And we should all try this quiz now. So let's all move here to the Using Moodle. And let's all start.
What is that, sir?
You have to move to the training course.
The practice course, then? We will try it.
Not the practice, the other one where you are a student. And let's experience a quiz. Let's all answer a quiz.
Mine is restricted. The quiz is restricted.
Yeah. So the activity about Moodle is not to go to about Moodle. Okay.
Okay, so you have only one attempt, as you saw. We went through a initial page where we have here a lot of things written, goal, instructions, grade, and so on. One attempt allowed, and the quiz will close on 5th September. So let's attempt a quiz now.
Yeah, to go scroll through the page.
So
The quiz.
here, this is the look of a quiz. Now, I want you to do your best answering the quiz. Okay, are we seeing all the questions on the same order? Because that might not happen. So the first question, true or false question.
It vanished and honestly away.
So first question I'm experiencing is a true false question. Just notice the differences of the questions and the way they were set up. And do your best.
It's important to say that we can only access the quiz if we open the previous models.
Yes, that's a good point. So I set up the course to prevent accessing the quiz without accessing the other resources that are.
I was having that problem. We need to go to About Moodle, the first activity, and go through the way until the end, and then the second one, and only with the previous activities done, we can access to the quiz.
Well, I'm sure you are struggling to answer this because we have not referred this in many detail, but if you had seen the video, maybe you had some clues, but just answer it the best you can and we will, I will not consider the grades you have. So just answer it randomly if you don't want to waste your time. So the purpose is to show you different kinds of questions, numerical questions, multiple choice with single answer, multiple choice with multiple answer questions, because we are going to create a quiz with this kind of questions in a while. Okay. After you press the submit and finish, you will have access to the review page, quiz review page. Did you all submit your quiz?
No.
Yay. 69%.
Eduardo's cheating Antonio too. When you see his score, he's got the textbook out here.
Requires what?
Eduardo is cheating. So when you see his score,
okay,
treat it with contempt.
Can we match this grading interview?
The only person that's doing it honestly is Cheryl and Malika.
Okay.
I think Barry McCauley's gone to sleep.
No going out. I get back to the fair results.
Okay, we will take this opportunity to talk about these questions because it's something that you can start knowing it, which is the names of these menus and so on. It's just something that we didn't refer. So everybody is on the revision page. Everybody submitted the quiz.
Yes.
And got the revision page. So the revision page will tell you your final grade. The quiz navigation will show the questions you got right on green, partially right on yellow or orange, and wrong on red. Of course, I should have get all green because I did this. I created. So, my 90 is worse than your 10. So if you have 10 points, you did better than me. So I'm just going to explain you quickly these different questions. Well, this question says that the navigation menu wastes a lot of time, a lot of space. Well, but this navigation menu is accessible. You can open and close it. So it's very useful because if you close it, you have all the space to work on your course. So the user menu is this menu here. This is called the user menu, where you have access to the dashboard, profile, grades, message, and so on. It's accessible clicking on your profile. The dashboard is also accessible here. It's accessible here on the navigation drawer and on the user menu. And this is it. Okay, so this was a numerical question, not easy. So if you have this smaller rows, this boxes here, show what you have completed and what you have not completed. So this the your progress indicators. So the assumption would be that you have completed 50% of this course. So that's why the correct answer would be 50. But the proposal was for you to experience the course with a matching question and several types of questions. So I'm going to press finish review. And okay, so no more attempts allowed. Back to the course. I cannot do anything more. Anyway, if I come back here anytime, I can press here the review link and get back to the review page. So I will be able to see forever what I got wrong, what I got right. And if I have several attempts, they will appear here, several attempts, and the review page for each attempt. So now I'm going just to jump here to another page where I am a teacher on that course, and I'm going to access it.
Can I ask a quick question there? Because we have this issue with some of our quizzes. I would assume that whenever you're setting up a quiz, you set up the number of attempts. Now, we had an issue with one of our students here where she went to a quiz and clicked start and then left and went away to do something else. Whenever she returned, the time had elapsed and it said test completed, so failed, and it was only one attempt. Now, what I was able to do in Canvas, at least, I was able to go to the results of the tests, of the quizzes for the students, and I could pick her, just that particular student, and I could add another attempt just individually for her, so I could override the number of attempts in general. Does Moodle has any kind of feature like that, where you can change the parameters for just one student?
Let's have a look. Now I'm a teacher here, so I'm looking at using Moodle course. So first thing I will notice here, I have a link for all the attempts. So if you don't mind, I will show your attempts to each other. Anybody has a problem in showing? As I told, there's no importance of the grade you have. So if nobody,
no problem.
So let's have a look. When I click all the attempts, I will see here all your attempts and your grades, and I can access your revision page if I want. I click here, this grade, and I access the revision page, all the answers you submitted, and so on. And I can do a lot of things here. I can also edit the question because it was wrong, and then regrade all the students, and all the students' answers will be regraded based on the updated question that I have changed. So, so here you have all the questions and you have access to all the reports. Well, you have other reports you may explore after you have the grades, the responses, the statistics, and you can manually grade some questions. So if a student just complains because his grade is not correct, because his answer should be accepted, I can manually grade his question. Well, about the user overrides, it's what you were mentioning. So I can access here user overrides, add a user override, and select here a user, for instance, Antonio Aguiar Costa, and I will extend the close date for him, and I will increase here one attempt and save these changes. So Antonio Aguiar Costa will have this override. So this answered your question, I guess?
Yes, it did. And it brings me another one, just quickly. We have students that currently are doing some of the courses that we have on BIMCERT, but they're doing over through BMC. So for example, one of the ideas, if we're having the same course on one of our consortium partners, that BIMCERT will recognize that already have that achievement. So instead of they're going to the whole course, is there a way, I'm assuming that the activity and that sort of thing will give them the XPs and will give them the badges in the end of it. Is there, and the certificate, is there a way for us to manually insert achievement? So for example, if they've done quizzes here on Belfast Met and they have enrolled as a student there, can I simply go and say, you don't have to go through all these quizzes because you've done it before on another medium? So I'll just mark it as passed and give you the XPs or the badges manually.
Well, there's not an easy way to do that because it's a lot of things involved. So that
So I can't issue certificates or badges without them actually having to the activities.
No, it's not easy to do that because well, you can. There's ways to edit the completion, but it's a lot of work. You have to go to the course and then edit the completion, and that force the completion. This student has just completed this activity. Insert also a grade, and then expect the system to work. to automatically give him his badges and so on, based on those manual overrided status of the completion.
Okay.
So we can check that, but that's something that will represent a lot of work for you. So you will have to individually complete all the activities and give grades individually to all the activities.
Well, it is troublesome. We're talking about 30 students, so it could be something worthwhile.
Right, but hold on 1 second. Let's play devil's advocate. Say I had author's rights in this system. I can go on and give digital certificates out to everybody that registers without them doing any of the coursework.
That's what I'm asking. Is that possible?
No, but you want to do that.
I want to.
You want to do that. Whilst you're doing it for the best intentions, transferring people from one platform to the other, it leaves the back door open where someone can come in like Cheryl and say, right, there's 50 people that get them all digital badges for a brown envelope. So it's the integrity of the system could also be in question there, Antonio.
Well,
it has to be an administrator, so it will be recorded who did it.
Yeah, only an administrator can do that, or a course teacher. A course teacher can also edit the grades and the completion of the students of his course, only his course, okay? He only teaches one course, he can only do it on one course.
So supposedly would it be possible to, for example, with a version of the courses, create a different version, which is, for example, a transfer course. So it's the ones that we know that have done it on another platform, but we just want to assign the corresponding completion on BIMCERT. So we create a version, and then on that one, we manually put the users on that and manually attribute the certificates. Is that possible?
The purpose of the version is not that. A student cannot have two versions. You will have only one version. So either it is a closed edition that you do to a specific.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Or if you want to join with the others, you have to put it on the others version, 2019, for instance, and you may use 2019 version for a long time. So until you decide to create a new version and start everything from the beginning.
But we can use that. We can use an edition just to enroll those transfer students, and on that edition manually, because that one supposedly will not have a teacher. Just the admins will have access to that, and admins can manually give the certificates to those students. Would that be
But they will be only competing with each other. That's the point. They won't participate on the other's edition. So the leaderboard will be 10 students that you manually edited them. Because
that would be fine.
They belong to a closed edition that only they only are the ones that participate. So that's
that will be fine. The purpose of this is if someone has already completed those same objectives on another course, we basically recognize that they already have them. So then we attribute that without them having to do some work. And then whenever they go for 2 more courses on BIMCERT, they already have that recognition that they completed those modules. That's the point of it.
Okay. So yeah, you can do it. But I don't know if it's the work you will have to complete the things for them. I don't know if you would be very upset if he had to answer again to the quizzes and just check and validate his knowledge once again. But okay, that is possible.
Okay.
Okay, so so I was just showing you every admin possibilities about quiz. So the teacher will have access to all the attempts, all the statistics, everything, and you will be allowed to create these overrides. So now it's time for us to create a quiz, right? Let's learn how to create quizzes. So let's move back to dashboard and to our practice course, where we will be able to create our first quiz. For now, we are going to look at the quiz in a limited way. We are going just to create these different sort of questions. On the 3rd session, I think, I will show you how to create drag and drop questions and other interesting questions. So getting back to my course, turn editing on. Oh, what happened? Turn editing on. And add an activity or resource. So let's add our first activity, which is a quiz. So here it is, the quiz. And add an activity. So assuming that you all reach the screen, adding a new quiz.
Yeah.
Okay, so quiz has a name, like other activities. I'm going to put here quiz, model 1 quiz, model 1 quiz, or something like that. And then here, the description on this case is relevant because this is the content that appears to the student on the quiz page. So instructions, anything that you want to explain to your students before they can attempt the quiz, like if the quiz has some timing or close date or something, everything you want, you can explain here. So I'm just going to write here something. And as you can see, there are a lot of options the quiz has. Let's have a look at the first options. So open the quiz, close the quiz, time limit. So these are options related to the timing of the quiz. So you can define that the quiz opens now and will close in 2 or 3 days, okay? You can also enable a time limit. So the student will have only 60 minutes to complete the quiz. This means that once he starts the quiz, there will be a countdown timer on the right, showing him the remaining time. And once the time lapses, the 60 minutes ago pass, what will happen is what is specified here. And this is the default setting. Open attempts are submitted automatically. And I recommend you leave it like it is. So if the student doesn't submit the quiz after the during the 60 minutes period, Moodle will do it automatically for him. And this is it. We have a lot of options here, but for now, we are not going to look them. There are some here that are very important. We are just going to save and display because the quiz has 2 editing screens. The first one is the edit settings, and the second one is the edit quiz. So the edit quiz is where you define the quiz questions. The edit settings is where you define the general settings. So you can always access the settings and the quiz questions using the wheel once you are on the quiz page, as I'm showing you now. Okay, so you don't have any questions, so the edit quiz button is here. But when you have questions, this button disappears. So don't forget wheel, and then you have the edit settings to get back to the settings, edit quiz to edit the quiz questions. And here we have the list of the quiz questions, which is empty. So we are going to start creating our questions. So I'm just going to open here a file that will help me. Okay. So let's create our first quiz question. How do we create a question? We press here the add button and select add a new question. So let's all add a new question. Once you press add a new question, you will see the huge list of different types of questions that are available. So let's choose multiple choice, which is the one that is most widely used. But as you can see, there's a huge list of question types. Question names. Question name is internal. It's only the teacher can see. So EU, country. You can give whatever name you want. It's only limited to you. The student will see the question text. So I'm going to write a question. Which of the following countries? No, which country belongs to the European Union? Question mark. So I just write the question, and then down here I have the choices. Choice 1, choice 2, choice 3, and I just write the choices. So let's write here Brazil, choice 1. Choice 2 will be China. Choice 3 will be France. Choice 3 will be Zimbabwe. I don't know how to spell it in English. I guess it's something like this, Zimbabwe. I should have chosen an easy one. Okay. So, okay, so next step, I have to grade my questions. And there must be one with 100%. So in this case, I would choose here 100% for France, okay? And the others, if you want to give a partial grade, on this, in this case, it doesn't make any sense, but imagine that there is a question that is almost correct. So you can give partial grades, 50%, to that question. So you have this option. You also have, for each choice, you have an option here with a feedback, which is specific feedback. If the user chooses this option, which specific feedback can I give him? And you may use this or not. And this, you can define when does the student have access to this feedback. You can define that you will only have access to this feedback after he completes the quiz. Okay, so we can specify here some feedback. For instance, in France, right question. Okay, and Zimbabwe, you can write here Zimbabwe is in Africa, is in Africa, or is an African country, something like that. So just to show you, okay, and I could write here, just to show you the purpose of the specific feedback. You also have here another box, which is the general feedback. And the general feedback is shown whatever answer the student submits. So you have these two kinds of feedback: the specific related to the answer he has chosen, and the general, which will be shown whatever he gets the right answer or not. So this is nothing really special. It's really easy.
Sorry, do you mind going over that setup again for some people in the room? Not me.
Okay, so
your fellow countryman is somewhat lost, Antonio.
I'm just not getting the part of actually placing the questions. I was able to edit the general, the number of attempts, that sort of thing, but the question itself is not showing. So I think I missed a step there.
So you're not still adding a question. You're not adding the question. So when you are on the Moodle quiz, you have these two options. You have the edit settings and the edit quiz. The edit quiz allows you to edit the quiz questions. So you press edit quiz. We are all here now.
I'm there, yes.
So this is the list of the quiz questions. No questions exist at this moment. So you have here the add link where you can add a new question.
Okay.
Once you start adding a new question, you have to choose which kind of question you want.
Okay. I will take the add one.
We send our apologies from Belfast. All of the Irish people in the room are okay, Antonio, and the Indians.
Okay. So let's move on. Okay, now answering the settings here, because somebody I believe it was Cheryl, So Cheryl, here related to the settings, question name is something that is only shown to the teacher. So you can write here whatever you want to identify the question if you need to look for it later. This is the question that is shown to the student. And which country belongs to the EU? This is a sample question. And then you have to write here the choices. So this is a multiple choice question. These are the choices that the student will be able to choose from: Brazil, China, France, Zimbabwe. And then each answer may have a grade, and at least one has to have the 100% grade because it's the correct choice. The others may have partial grade, like 20, 30%, so on. And you can specify also specific feedback for each question here. Specific feedback means specific to the choice that the student answered, okay? So if he chooses one of these options, you will see only the specific feedback related to the option he has chosen. You have also the general feedback box here above, where you can specify feedback that is shown to him, whatever he answers, whatever answer he chooses. So are we all ready to move on?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I will just refer here to shuffle the choices. Each time the student or other student assesses the question, the choices will be in a different order. So I think this is something that you should use. And number the choices. You can choose which numbering scheme or no numbering you want to number the choices. There is also this option here that we will see in the next question. We are going to create a multiple answers allowed question, but now we are setting up a one answer only. And as you will see, setting up the question is a little bit different. So let's keep this one like it is, and let's save changes. So everyone got back to the screen, to the editing quiz screen? Okay, so now you have one question on your quiz, and it would be nice if we could preview our question. So that's why you have here this icon here, preview question. And you can click on it. And you can try it. So I'm going to select France and submit and finish. Well, and nothing happened. Nothing happened to you too, so, right?
Should scroll on the next page. Should scroll on to the next page and it's about to finish.
Nothing happened, right? We just choose France and nothing happened. So this is something that I will explain in detail after, because our quiz is set up to not show feedback. So we have to change the settings here temporarily to see the results. So how questions behave, let's change from deferred to immediate feedback. And here, display options, show whether correct. Let's put show mark and max, show. Let's put show on every single item here. And let's press the update display options. So show mark and maximum, and show on every boxes, every drop-down boxes, and update the display options. And now we are able to see the maximum information that we get. This green icon here is showing whether correct. So if my answer is or not correct. This right here is my specific feedback. This, your answer is correct, is whether correct also. This is my general feedback. And this is the correct answer. The correct answer is France, okay? And this is the response history. Everything that I marked to show here, down here, is being shown now. So I could experience this question, and I can start again and try another option, submit and finish, and I will get the different feedback. So everybody is happy with the first question. Let's create our second question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so now we are going to create a multiple choice question again, but we are going to change here some options. Let's click add. And question name, let's call it cities. And let's put here which cities belong, which cities are on the UK. Okay, so which cities are on the UK? I don't know if I'm spelling it correctly or saying it correctly, but the purpose is a question where you have more than one correct answer. So let's put here some London, Belfast.
Excuse me, after Halloween, Belfast will not be in the UK any longer once Brexit hits. So
sorry?
This quiz is almost out of date.
No. Okay. So, okay, which or on
no, you're okay, Money Joe. Go ahead, keep going.
On England. Do you want me to change to England?
Oh no, keep going. You're okay.
Put Dublin after the 21st. If it's up to Boris, it will become part of the UK again.
Okay, so sorry, I
less contentious.
This is a very dated. This is a very dated training. You are recording this video, and maybe it won't be very suited to see in the future. Okay, so London, Belfast. Now let's place here Ngozi, which is a city from Burundi, and
Manchester.
Well, Manchester.
Yeah.
Is okay.
Londonderry.
Yes. We have here. Well, let's put one more option that is incorrect.
It's incorrect. Paris.
Okay. So here we have our 5 options. 3 of them are correct, right? London, Belfast, and Manchester belong to the UK. And 2 are not correct. So help me grading this. Which grade should I give to the correct answers? London, Belfast, and Manchester.
When you say grade, what do you mean grade? Numerical grade?
Grade. I have to grade if the student answers one of these answers. If he chooses one of these choices, which grade will he have? This is the.
How many did you have right?
3.
3. So it's around 30. You can have a round number there.
33.33.
Yeah.
Well, they have it here.
Yeah.
33.3333. So this is correct. So you cannot give 100% to 3 answers. Moodle won't allow you to save. So this is the first difference between single answer and multiple choice answer. Okay, there are multiple choices correct. So 33% for the 3 options correct, and this one here, Manchester, 33.333. So the 3 correct answers add up to 100%. This is perfect. Now, what would you suggest me to put here on Ngozi and Paris?
Zero. Is there 0 option?
Okay. 0 or none is the same. But this is a common error, so that's why I wanted you to go through this, because there's an issue here. If the student selects all cities, which grade will he get? Do you see the point?
Yes. Well, is there a negative one there?
Yeah, let's have a look. Yes, there is. Okay, we can, and we must give negative points to these answers. Okay, when you have multiple choice with multiple answers, you have to give negative grade to the wrong answers, and you can give whatever grade you want.
Or can't you just give 0 to the wrong ones? So
no, zero. If they check them all, they will get the 100%. They won't get any penalty for choosing the wrong answers.
Minus 50.
You get over minus 50, something comes up.
Okay.
So can we give minus 50 because there's 2 wrong ones to, so do we give minus 50 to the 2 wrong ones, minus 50% each?
Yes, or you can just tell, it's such a terrible mistake that I can give minus 75. This is terrible. Paris, Benghazi from UK, Benghazi. There's nothing similar to that in the UK. So,
but here's the question, Antonio. Right? Somebody selects all 5. They end up on that score now. They end up with minus 50%.
Yep.
Now, if they select all 5, would they end up with 0? Because it's
no, minus 100% or 150% minus is minus 50%.
You're right. But depending on the way you set up the quiz, there's a setting in the quiz that will define if the negative grades add up to the total grade or they are converted to 0. Okay, so I will talk about that. It's a question behavior. There are several question behaviors, and some add up the negative scores to the quiz and some don't add. So this is something that you will have to take into account when you configure this kind of questions. So your point is right, minus 50, minus 50. If he checks all, he will get a 0, but he can get negative score, because if he only checks the wrong answers and he doesn't check any correct, he will have minus 100%, same. So you will always have the possibility of getting a wrong negative score. Okay, it's the only negative answers. So, but
hold on, Antonio, we have one more question from the room.
Hi, I just wanted to know that if there's a choice where you can only select 3 answers, that helps. Then they can't select all 5, because that's just, like, that's also trying to be like over smart. So like if you can only select 3 answers.
Unfortunately, there's no choice. Unfortunately, there's no option to do that. You only have, you have all answers available. Okay. So.
Your questions all used up now. Used up all your questions indeed. You took her down by your responsible.
Okay, but
so we have Benghazi at minus 75, and what are we doing for Paris?
Yeah, I just put minus 75. Sorry, I had 75 positive.
Yeah,
minus.
It was Paul's bad idea. I thought minus 50, that will give you 100%.
Okay, you can give minus 10, minus 20. You can the positive answers must add to 100%. The negative don't have any limit, so you can give whatever grade you want.
What happens if you put none? So on the grade, if you put none on the wrong ones?
As I told you, that wouldn't give any penalty if he selected the wrong ones.
That's probably what sometimes we want. We want them not to have negative, because that will affect the whole quiz. But
yeah,
want them to have any points if they put the wrong ones.
As I told you, when you select the question behavior, you will determine if the negative grades are added up to the question quiz or converted to 0. So you can have the option to negative grades don't
yeah.
So, but the point is, if somebody checks London, Belfast, Benghazi, Paris, you will give them 100% grade. I think it's a wrong answer.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so not using negative scores is
something that, yeah.
Maybe I wouldn't use this kind of questions if I don't want to use negative scores, because the question behavior I'm using doesn't allows the negative scores to be added up. But that's something that we will get back about the question behavior, which is a quiz setting. For now, we have to finish our setting, changing this setting here. one answer only? No. Multiple answers allowed. Otherwise, this
Not get full scores, yes.
Okay. So multiple answer allowed. Everything is correctly set up. I didn't put any feedback here. Let's make changes and let's review the question.
I'm concerned this gentleman has a great fascination with cities in Africa. He's been in Zimbabwe and goes in and God knows where we're going to end up. See once we cross the equator, that's an amazing.
It's difficult to get BIM compliments.
It's the digital elephants that will be in this platform scaring me.
And Tony, another tough question here. For example, if we have different modules, which happens to us, but some of the modules actually have similar content or even similar assessments. So for example, you may have completely different modules, but each one have, for example, 3 or 4 quizzes. But on those 3 or 4 quizzes, maybe 2 of them are common to both modules. If a student takes one module and completes, for example, 2 of those common quizzes, can it be, if he takes the other module, can it automatically identify that those 2 quizzes have already been taken, so that that activity has already been completed on another module?
No, Moodle will consider the courses are independent, and that cannot. Let me think about. Well, there are some ways to do that, but they're not so easy. You would have to have those questions on a shared course. So the course would be divided in 2 Moodle courses. But
just because we want to, one of the ideas of the BIMCERT is it has this micro accreditation. So if someone goes and does one bitey thing, it gets a kind of a stamp or a badge or whatever it is of completion. So whenever he progresses to something else, if it's something he has already done or achieved, he doesn't have to do it, because that's a problem of the normal courses. If I do any BIM course, I have to put up again with the whole thing of what is BIM, concepts, etc. Even if I had already done 3 or 4 previous BIM courses, I always have to put up with that again. So the idea was to avoid that. If someone has already done this on another course, whenever he goes to a new one, he doesn't have to, because he already has proven that knowledge.
Oh, but that's the idea of dividing a course into models, because if you have different models, dividing a subject into models, because we suppose different models are independent. Maybe you should organize your course in a different way, and the things that are common are a model, so you would not repeat content on different models.
Okay.
Maybe that common content is an independent model. It's like something that you should do.
Extra course.
And it's just that we have more breakdowns.
Okay, so we are moving fast for our for the end of this session. So let's try here to just speak about 2 more question types that we were looking at. I just would like to show you here. I just selected everything to show, and here show mark and max. So about the grade, people that asked what is the grade. So here is the impact of the grade. So this moment the question is as 1 point, and my mark was 0.25 out of 1. So this is 30% plus 30% plus 30%, which is 33%, which is 100%, minus 75% because I selected Ngozi. That result is 25%. The question is marked with 1 point value, so I got 25% of 1 point, which is 0.25. So this is the way Moodle grades the questions. You define it in percentage, but then there's a mark, a maximum mark that is defined, and we will see where. And this mark will ensure that you the grade in percentage is converted to these points. So I'm going to close the preview, and the mark is here, as you can see. It's defined in 1. Each question has a mark of 1. So I press the pencil to edit the mark. So I'm going to give a 5 grade to the first one and a 5 grade to the 5 points to the second. So I have 10 points, sum of marks 10 points here now. And if I preview the question, now it's still, I have to refresh this page maybe because it's still going. Okay, marked out of 5. So now I know that it is marked out of 5. So let me give the same answers, submit and finish. Show. And here it is, mark 1.25 out of 5. So that's why you define the grades in percentage, because then you can define the grade in points and the percentage will be applied to those points. Okay? Let's have a different kind of question. Let's add a new question and, well.
I've tried to drag text and I don't seem to be able to do it.
What? You tried what?
I've tried one that's drag and drop into text.
Yes.
It gives me an error about contain placement holders.
Okay, we will look at that one on the 3rd session, okay? I would like to see the basic ones, which are the short answer, true, false, and so on. And the true, false, I won't show you. It's so obvious that it's easy. You can explore it later. The numerical, it's a nice question to have a look. So let's start with the numerical and click that. And let's put here some question. Earth radius. And the question is, what is the average radius of planet Earth? And let's place here, let's put here kilometers to make it easy to specify the unit. Okay? So Earth radius, what is the average radius of the planet Earth? Okay, are we fine with this numerical question?
Yes, go ahead.
I just don't know the answer, but that's another time.
Okay, so you're going to, there's something you're going to learn for sure on this session. The radius of 6,371. Okay?
That's correct.
Great, thank you for confirmation. Okay, so this is 100% correct. This is the average radius. So I'm going to put here a grade of 100% and something back here. Congrats, congratulations. You are right, something. Okay? So concerning numerical questions, you have to, you can allow several answers here. And you can check these answers against and then give them specific grade or feedback. I'm going to put here a second answer for you to understand. I'm going to put here 6,371, exactly the same radius. What is the purpose of this answer? Because I'm going to change here the error. I'm going to put here an error of 14 kilometers. And the grade I'm going to give is 30%. And the feedback is your answer is between the maximum and minimum grades, minimum radius. Okay, so the point is, when Moodle starts checking the answers, it will start on the first. If the first answer is correct, the process stops, the student gets the grade and the feedback. The first failed, now he is going to try the second. If the student answers something between 6,371 minus or plus 14, okay, that means that his value accepts this tolerance of 14. So he will get a grade of 30%, and you will get this feedback. Your answer is between the maximum and minimum radius, okay? And you can give another answer. So any answer that you think that the student may give, and you want to give him some specific grade or feedback, you can give. So for instance, 1,700, grade none. So that is the radius of the moon. Radius of the moon, which is where you have your mind. Okay. So this is the purpose of these several answers. So you just save changes and the question is ready to test. I'll give you a few seconds for you to do it.
The octopus with the kraken or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any question?
Hold on, we okay here?
Just checking.
2 seconds, Antonio, please.
Okay.
It's giving an area here. Whenever you put the first question, the radius, and what's the radius of the Earth? There's a wee box that says default mark. Do you have to put 100%?
No, not the default mark is what will appear here. If you can see my screen, what will appear here? It's 1, so 1 appeared here. So just ignore that. I don't use that. I'm going to edit the question, get back to edit the question. Where you have to put the grade is here on this possible answers. This possible answer, I will give a grade of 100%. This one, 30%. So that option that you are seeing, I don't know where it is. Default mark, that option exists on all questions and ignore it.
Okay.
No,
Maybe we should just save changes.
it's still giving us a wee exclamation mark on the question.
Sorry, I didn't get it.
We're okay.
I think it's okay now.
It'll be fun.
Just look at the things that the answer, which answer is right when you very comprehend.
Yeah.
Okay, can we move on?
Yep.
Okay. So this question works really exactly the same way the others do. This can be used for a lot of quantitative questions. So you just ask for a value. There's a very similar question, which is the short answer question. Let's have a look here. I'm going to add a new question. I'm going to add a short answer question. It's very similar because it has the same structure. So let's create the question. I'm going to call it Lisbon. And the question is, what is the capital of Portugal? And looking below, I have here the case sensitivity, if the case sensitivity is important or not. So I'm going to let it know. And then first answer, I'm going to place here Lisbon. Lisbon, and I'm going to grade it 100%. Okay, and give some feedback. Then imagine that the person spells Lisbon in Portuguese. So I'm going to put here Lisboa, Lisboa, and grade it 100%. And okay, imagine that the person can spell it wrong. So I can place something like this. If it starts with LE and ends with ON, I will accept this answer as correct.
Lisbon. Lisbon.
Yeah, there's a problem. If the person writes something that starts with LE, but the purpose is to show you the asterisk here will replace any set of characters, okay? So this is a useful item on the text, short text answers. So you can use this kind of question also to ensure that the student knows the name of certain concepts or some kind of knowledge like this. It's not a very used question, but it may be useful on some contests. Okay, so this is it. Save the changes and you have the question set up. And now we are still missing one question, which is I would like to show you, which is the matching question. So if you are ready to move on.
Yes, please.
Okay, let's have a look at the matching question. Add a new question, matching. And question name, cities. And we are going to, the question is, let me just, I have here 6 years. So to which country belong the following cities? To which country do the following cities belong the following cities? The following. Which country belong the following cities? I don't know if it's correctly spelled, but you which country belong the following cities? And now I'm going to define here some pairs. So below you are going to define the correct pairs. And this is the pairs are question and answer. So first, Lisbon. Lisbon, answer, Portugal. Question 2, Paris. The correct answer is France. Question 3, let's put here another French city. Paris and I believe Nice is spelled like this. Nice. So This is also a French city. So I just have to spell France exactly the same way I spelled on the previous answer. So you may repeat an answer, and Moodle will show it only once. So this is something that I wanted to refer to you. And then I can press the button here, blank, for 3 more choices. And let's put here more choices. London, UK. And now I'm going to add here 2 answers with no question. So these are some tricks to set up matching questions. So first, you can repeat an answer, and it will be shown only once. And you can give extra answers that have not a corresponding match. For instance, I'm going to put here Italy and Germany. Okay, so save changes and preview for you to see. So the cities, Nice, Lisbon, London, Paris, and the countries, France appears once. We have also here Italy and Germany, which don't have any matching cities, so you are not supposed to select them. So this is how you set up a matching question.
Thank you.
Oh, it's yourself.
You're not all right?
Okay, so when you're ready to finish, just tell me. We have already.
All the actions to date are against you.
Let me just.
I'm just taking notes then.
No, he's playing solitaire. So you have 20 quizzes to put on the platform. 20? Are they written? As long as they're written, that's all right.
Well, I've just checked here. This is supposed to end at 14, right?
Yeah.
So I think we should do a small break.
We can take a 15-minute break and then end at 14:15 if that suits okay, Antonio.
Okay.
Or 20-minute break. What do you want to do?
Okay, so if no questions, if you don't have any questions, let's take a 20-minute break, right?
Hold on. Some of the team here want to get a quick sandwich, so it might take more than 20 minutes. And I'm conscious that we have Diana and Tony also online. Antonio 1, what do you think? It's now just 1 o'clock, but we start back in 30 minutes and then extend the meeting for about another 30 minutes at the end.
As you prefer.
It's okay. Diana, does that work for you? You're on mute. Yeah, Angelina. She's not speaking.
Okay.
Tony, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. It's okay for me.
But 25-minute break to you, Tony. Get a bite of lunch and then we come back again.
Excellent.
So it's now 13:05, 14:05 Central Europe. Start back at 30 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, folks. Thank you. Just leave the system live.
Yeah.
Go get a bite of lunch. Take the sandwich. Come on.
Okay.
Hey, no sense logging on quickly. You need to move fast. Come on.
Oh my God.
Come.
online versus the
At least you've managed. Leave a quick line, it's okay.
Huh?
55 filled the catch.
So cute. It's got a sample. Andrew, have you met Monica?
Spoke on the phone on Friday. Hi, how
Nice
you
to
doing?
meet you.
Good to meet you.
Grab my lunch this time.
How did you find that?
Cool, straightforward. It's going to be a slight mess to get it automatically to recognize achievements.
Yeah. We're okay on this end.
Okay, so I guess you are receiving my screen now.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's finish here the quiz. We still have here some. Okay, we have here some wishes to talk about. So let me have a look here about the question types. We are missing some question type. So I told you about the true false, which is really easy. The essay question also is a really easy question. The essay question is an open question, so the student will write the answer. Of course, it's not automatically graded, so it's a manually graded question because this is a question used for some open questions, which is impossible to automatically grade. So we've seen all the basic questions. Then we have here some other to see on the next sessions. But for now, let's have a look at other settings on our quiz. First, we have to define here the quiz maximum grade. I don't know. Well, I guess you will be working with 100 points for every activity. And so that's we have been assuming that. So first we have to do is to change the maximum grade to 100 and then press the save button. Okay, so my quiz now has a 100 grade, and then I have here this problem. The total of marks for the questions this moment is 13. And the maximum grade is 100. Moodle will handle this well, so we will convert the final grade to a 0 to 100 scale. The problem here is it may be confusing for the student if he knows he has 100 points grade on his quiz, and he looks at the quiz question and it's stated. So he may think, oh, I have 20 questions to answer, each is only. So I recommend you to ensure that the total of marks is the same as the maximum grade. So I have here 5 questions, so I should give an average of 20 for each. So to make it easy, I'm going to put 20, but I don't need. For instance, the last one, I can put 15 and the last 25. So total of marks 100, maximum grade 100. This moment the quiz is consistent. So please make sure your quizzes are also coincident concerning the grades. Don't forget to press the save button on the maximum grade and to press enter on the individual question grades. Okay, so this screen has some other useful possibilities, like the changing the way that the questions belong on the different pages. So this moment, each question is on a single page. So you have page 1, question 1, page 2, question 2, and so on. So if you want, you can preview totally your quiz. How can I preview the quiz? First, I must get back to the Moodle, to the quiz page. So I just go here to the breadcrumb and select here the previous page, the quiz page. Once I'm on the quiz page, I can press this wheel and click here the preview, and I will have a preview of my quiz. This is the warning, timed quiz. The quiz has a limit of 1 hour. Yes, I set up this limit, start attempt. And this is the time left here on the right. And now I can answer to my questions. And as you can see, I have here the maximum grade information. I have 1 question per page. I am not getting any feedback.
Feedback from who? Okay.
Okay, finish attempt, submit all and finish. And I have access to the review page. Everything works as expected. Okay, and here's my grade. I got 100 out of 100. Every question is marked 20 of 20, 20 of 20, so everything is fine. I hope your quizzes are also fine, so we can finish the preview, finish the review. And let's get back to our quiz now. Let's edit quiz, press the wheel and edit the quiz. Well, what if I don't want 1 question per page? I can always press here the repaginate button. I have here this button, repaginate. And I can change for 2 questions per page, for instance, and press go to repaginate. Okay? Anyway, you have the ability to repaginate the quiz as you want. As you can see, these icons here between the questions allow you to delete a page break or to add a page break. So these icons here give you the freedom to paginate the question as you wish. And there's also a move arrow. So if you want to change the order of your questions, you can move them all. So I will move question 4 to the next page, or I will move question on to the last page. And I can insert a page break and delete a page break. So I have the freedom to completely change the order of the questions and the page breaks. Okay. So, no questions? Let's move on. Okay, so what should we look now concerning the quiz? Let's get back here to the Moodle quiz and let's have a look at the quiz settings. These quiz settings are really important. And we have here a bunch of settings that we must have a look. So back to edit settings. We have already seen the timing tab. Now we have here the grade. Okay, so on the grade you can define a minimum grade the student has to attain to pass. So this is specific information that Moodle will store if the student has passed or didn't pass the activity. So you can place here, for instance, 80 or 75 minimum grade. And then we have here the attempts allowed. If you remember the quiz you tried, you only had one attempt. So this is where you define how many attempts that the student will have to answer the quiz. If you give the student complete feedback after the quiz, if you show him answers and so on, I don't think of giving more than one attempt, because if you give him 2 or 3 attempts and in the first attempt he will see the correct answers, so the next attempt he will have 100% unless he has some kind of difficulty understanding things. So anyway, if you choose to give the students more than one attempt, you can choose the grading method. This is the final grade he has on the quiz. Instead of highest grade, you can choose average grade or first attempt or last attempt. So I can give him 3 attempts. The grading method is the average grade. His final grade will be at the average of the 3 attempts. Well, these attempts allowed make more sense if you are using random questions. So I'm going to show you on the 3rd session how to create a quiz with random questions, and that is very useful because you can ensure that all the students see different questions, and even if a student has several attempts, he will see only always different questions on these attempts. Okay, so this is the grade. Let's check here the layout. Well, the layout is not important, it's the pagination, but question behavior, this is really important. And it's also a little bit difficult to understand. So let me try to explain you this the easiest way I can. So you have here several different ways that the quiz will behave, the questions will behave. Deferred feedback, you normally use deferred feedback when you want to use the traditional quiz that you don't show any information to the student during the quiz attempt. So the student will, and this is the current setting. So while we were answering to the quiz, we couldn't see any feedback. We couldn't see if the answer was right, wrong or right. You have a different behavior here, which is the immediate feedback, which will show during the quiz a button to submit each answer. I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to change this to immediate feedback, and I'm going to change here something more also. Okay, I changed immediate feedback, save and display, and now I'm going to preview the quiz. So if you can see now, so I'm going to select here an answer, and notice that I have here a check button. So I can immediately get some feedback when I press the check button instead of waiting for the end of the quiz. So once I press the check button, this is the feedback that is being shown, but this is, I can configure which feedback will the student see. So this is really important. If the quiz has if the key quiz proposes for the student to learn, it's important that he gets feedback really quick, immediately after he answers the question. So this is the purpose. So every question will have this check button, so the student will get his immediate feedback. Okay? So let's have a look at the other question behaviors. I'm going back to edit settings, and I have here adaptive mode and interactive with multiple tries. Adaptive mode and interactive with multiple tries allow the student to answer also the question immediately and get immediate feedback. But there's a difference, because in adaptive mode and intuitive with multiple tries, the student will be able to change his answer and get a different feedback. But this will have a penalty. Each time he answers incorrectly, you will have a penalty. Let me show you. I'm going to select adaptive mode, save and display, and now I'm going to preview the quiz. And as you can see, I have the check button here. I'm going to answer. I'm going to press check. And you can see here, you have correctly selected 2. Marks for this submission 0 out of 20. This submission attracted a penalty of 667. This means that I can answer the question again. And if I, even if the answer is right, I won't get the 20 points of the question. I will always get 20 minus the accumulated penalties that I have. So this moment I'm running up for 13.33 points because I've just made a wrong selection. So I'm going to change this one and select London and check, and okay, now it's the right, the correct answer, but I only could get 13.33 accounting to the previous tries because I had a penalty. So this is a really interesting question behavior, because the students can learn and correct their errors and learn. In terms of learning, it's a really nice question behavior. Finally, the interactive with multiple tries. The interactive with multiple tries is a question behavior that also works with penalties and also works with different attempts to the question. But it has one specific question, which is all the questions, and I'm going to move here to the questions, must have hints. What are hints? Let me just edit here one question to show you. Well, when we were editing these questions, we skipped here these settings here, multiple tries. Okay, so here I define the penalty for each incorrect try, and this is 33.33%, consistent with what happened just a minute ago. And here I have the hints, okay? So the hints are used only on the question behavior interactive with multiple tries. And I must specify, if I don't specify hints, interactive with multiple tries won't be interactive. It just won't give you the possibility to try again. So you have as many possibilities to try again, as many hints you define on each question, okay? So if I define a hint here and a hint here, I can add more hints. I will have 2 possibilities to answer this question, which is the cities question. Okay, so I'm going to save changes. And I'm going to preview this question. Which cities are? This one. And okay, so I'm going to choose Manchester, Belfast, and check. So your answer is partially correct. Marks for submission. The submission attracted a penalty. But, well, I'm still on adaptive mode, I'm sure. I'm going to change to interactive with multiple tries. Start again with these options. So if I select these 2 options, once I press check, I have here the hint, and I have here the try again button. Unless I, if I don't define hints, the behavior will be exactly as the immediate feedback. Okay, I won't have this try again button. Okay. So I hope you understood, because this is really important, the question behaviors. So basically, trying to summarize it, you can do quizzes like a traditional quiz with deferred feedback. The student won't get any feedback while performing the test. Or another possibilities is to give him immediate feedback, and besides immediate feedback, you can allow him to retake, to re-answer to the question if you are using adaptive mode, and if you are using interactive with multiple tries. But having in mind that using interactive with multiple tries means that you have to configure hints on the questions, or this won't work. Well, these other options we're with CBM. CBM is certainty-based marking. I didn't recommend them. They don't work well. They have issue that you have to perform some changes here, and the result is not very nice. Okay, so there's also something that I referred before that you must know. When you configure the multiple choice with multiple answers question, there is the possibility that the student gets a negative grade. So some of these question behaviors will take into account that negative grade for the final grade, some won't. So the deferred and immediate feedback will consider the negative grade as a negative grade for the course total, okay? So this is a little bit, this setting should be separate from these, but unfortunately they did it this way. So if you don't want students to have negative grades on a question, either you don't use the multiple choice with multiple answers, or you don't use the deferred feedback and immediate feedback, which is stupid because you are forced to use the others. But remember that if you use the interactive with multiple tries, you have always the possibility to not configure any hint, so the student won't be able to have more tries to answer the question. Well, I don't know if I was clear. This is something that is really important in the way the question behaves. So you should be aware of this, and you should choose which way do you want to set up your quizzes on this project. I would like to ask you, what is your opinion? Should you give feedback during the quiz, or only after the quiz is totally complete? Which one of these would you think is better suited for the BIMCERT project?
I think deferred feedback would be preferable, but it's really good to know there's an option there for giving hints.
Okay, perfect. So there's also other important settings down here that may make the other options a little bit more usable. This is really flexible. So I want to show you, even if you use like immediate feedback, imagine, or adaptive mode, which will show you also the feedback during the quiz attempt. Down here on the review options, you have the possibility to define what information is shown to the student on each stage. Okay, so here we have all these settings. We already saw these settings when we were trying a quiz. I will show you here. I think you will remember when you press the preview on a question, remember that we had to change the display options, show whether the answer is correct or not, show mark and max, show feedback, show general feedback, show. We had to change this all. So this is information that we had to change to show is exactly the same that is here. So during the attempt, Do I show the student the attempt? The attempt is his answer. So I think it's stupid to hide his answer. So I will never uncheck this box, the attempt. So during the attempt, I show the attempt, whether correct. So is it correct or incorrect? This is the information that Moodle will give to the student. Marks. Marks is the grade he got on the question. Will I show the marks or not? And then the specific feedback. And remember, the specific feedback is the feedback I define for each option on the quiz questions. And the general feedback is the feedback I define for generally for all the entire question. Okay, and finally, show
Antonio, sorry to interrupt. I'm on editing quiz, and I just can't find these review options. I think I missed a step.
Okay, so I got back to the edit settings of the quiz. So you have to go back to the quiz page, and here you have to go to the edit settings. Okay, and on edit settings, you have the question behavior, which is the behaviors we were talking about, and then the review options.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have here the possibility to fine-tune this. For instance, I can use immediate feedback, or I can use adaptive mode, but I won't show the marks, I won't show the specific feedback, neither the general feedback, neither the right answer. I only show him if he has a correct or incorrect answer for him to try again the question. So I can limit all the information that I'm showing him, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the same will happen on these three different stages. As you can remember, when we finished the quiz attempt, when we press the submit and finish button, we are redirected to the review page. The review page would show us everything, but that's because everything is checked here. So this is the information you will show on the review page. You want to show the student answer. You want to show if it's correct or incorrect. You want to show this grade. You want to show the specific feedback of each question, the general feedback of each question, which is the right answer, and the overall feedback for the quiz, which is something that you set up here, overall feedback. And we are going to have a look at it a little bit in a while. So you can fine tune these options. Well, this one here for me doesn't make any sense. This is 2 minutes after the attempt. This is immediately after the attempt. This is 2 minutes and later after the attempt. So I don't see any reason why I should hide something for the student for 2 minutes. So what I select here, I just select on this third column. And finally, we have this fourth column after the quiz is closed. In your project, this doesn't make sense because you don't have closing date. Student can enter the courses at any time. But if you are using a close the quiz date, okay, if you set up a close the quiz date, you can control here which information is shown to the student after the quiz date. So for maybe this makes sense, why should I use this? I'm going to give you an example. I may configure a quiz with deferred feedback. So during the attempt, you won't see nothing. Immediately after the attempt, you won't have access to the review page because I didn't check everything here. And I'm going to do the same here. So only when the end date was achieved, only on after the end date, the quiz close date, the students will be able to see the review page with the attempt, the feedbacks, the marks. So this is a setting that you will use if you don't want your students to talk with each other and to tell each other which is the correct answer. So they all won't know won't see any feedback until the quiz is closed. When the quiz is closed, they cannot change their answers. So now we will show them every feedback. So this is how you would set up a very strict quiz with no information. And then you have all the other choices available. So how the questions behave in the review options are really connected, and you should configure them together to get to control everything about the information shown on your quizzes. So in your case, this seems a little bit complex, but you just have to define how you're going to work. So maybe you suggested using the deferred feedback during the attempt doesn't show nothing, but it doesn't make sense to hide the feedback from the student, so you will check everything. And maybe you won't configure close date. So if you don't configure close date, you won't be able to change these settings because there is no close date. So this would be probably the way you would set up questions. And this has an implication we have just seen. If you are using deferred feedback, don't forget that multiple choice questions with multiple options can have a negative grade, and that negative grade will be added to the quiz grade. So if you are using deferred feedback, you have this issue. Either you avoid multiple choice questions with multiple answers, or you have to have in mind that those negative grades will be added to the quiz grade. Well, I've been talking for a while. I don't know if there are any questions, any suggestions. If you want to try different combinations, I can hold for a few minutes and you can try different combinations and review your quiz and see the results.
We're okay for now.
Okay. Okay, so let's move on. Let's have a look at the other appearances, the other options, appearance options. Nothing to say, this is pretty obvious. Extra restrictions, nothing to say also. You have here, this is to avoid people trying to cheat. So you have here a lot of options, namely the require network address. For instance, if you want to perform courses in a company and you want to, and the grades and so on should be something really serious. Okay, you can force the students to answer to the quiz exactly on the same room, so or on the same set of rooms. So you would input here an EP address or a AP range that are the only way to access the quiz. So somebody out of the company wouldn't be able to access the quiz. So you have here a lot of restrictions that you can put in place.
Security. And Tony, what's that, the browser security? Does it measure if they open the browser during the quiz? Is that it?
Well, browser security is something that is an attempt to avoid that students will be able to copy content to the quiz or be looking at another content. But as I said, this is an attempt. A smart student will open another browser or will do something. If you can see here the help. Some JavaScript is selected. The quiz will only start if the student has a JavaScript enabled web browser. The quiz appears in a full screen pop-up window that covers the other windows that has no navigation controls. Students are prevented as far as is possible from using facilities like copy and paste. And of course, this is working with computers. There's always somebody smarter. Okay. Okay, and overall feedback, as you've seen, there's a box here, overall feedback. You can give feedback, and this is good for gamification purposes and so on. So you can add here some feedback fields. And if the student has a grade between 100% and 90%, imagine, I'm going to, I don't think the percentage is needed. I'm only putting here 90. So you are going to put here an image. Going here to Wikimedia and looking for champion. Okay, so, well, nothing special. Let's select this file to avoid. So let's put, okay, let's put here a smaller size, like 150 pixels. Save image. Okay, so you can give specific congratulations. You can give specific feedback on an overall feedback for your student, depending on his final grade. So between 190, he will see this box. So you can, I will save and return to course, save and display. And okay, I don't have here any attempts. If I had, I would show you. I'm going back to edit the settings. So basically, on the review page, which is here, when you finish, when you finish the quiz and you see the review page, the first rows will show you your final grade and the overall feedback. So you can add overall feedback and you can put some images, like something to motivate your students. So between 190, you will get this message. I'm going to add 3 more choices. Between 90 and 75, you will get another feedback. And finally, between 75 and 0, you will get this final feedback here. I'm going to save and display. And he didn't let me, I should leave blank ones. I will place here and save and display. So I get back to edit settings and here it is. Overall feedback between 190, this feedback, 90, 75, this one, between 75 and 0, he gets this, or no feedback if you delete it. And this is it for the quiz. A lot of settings, as you can see. So about quizzes, we are going to get back to quizzes later, but we are going to talk about the special question types with image, drag and drop, and so on. Talk about using random questions. So this is really very flexible activity, which has a lot of settings. So save and return to the course, and here we are on the course page. So any questions until now?
There's an option here about activity completion.
Yes, we are going to talk about activity completion. We can talk about it today. That's a good idea. That's really something really important, the activity completion. As you can see, there are some boxes that are added here on the left. And as a student also, you have seen it, you have saw it on the other course, the MTT course that you are a student there. That as while you are answering or completing some activity, this checkbox will be checked or not checked. So this is the activity completion settings. In this moment, the activity completion is set to manual. How do I know? When I look at these boxes, if the outline is a line with no dots, it's a manual completion. And what does it mean, a manual completion? I'm going to show you. There's some manual completion here. Here on the Moodle training course, this box here is manual. This means that I can manually check or uncheck the completion, okay? These ones that are dotted, I cannot change them. The only way to change them is to perform. I have to submit some activity or some activity. I have to do something to complete the activity. I don't recommend using the manual because I think it can be confusing for students. they have to tell that they have completed the activity. They have to check something to ensure that they have completed the activity. So how do we set up this? Let's set up this for all the resources and we have created. Let's start with welcome the course. So edit settings for welcome the course, which is a page. So if I get here to the activity completion, the completion tracking has 3 options. And this is the same for all the activities. The difference is the conditions that will be available. So I have here these 3 options. Do not indicate activity completion. And if I select this option and save and return to the course, the checkbox of the welcome page disappeared. So it's no longer required to complete. So if you don't want the student if some activity is not mandatory, you should set up the activity completion for this option we have just seen. So, sorry. Turn editing on, and we have this option, which is activity completion. Do not indicate activity completion. So this is the other option. Students can manually mark the activity as completed. I don't recommend it. And finally, show activity as complete when conditions are met. So each activity and resource will have different conditions. The page cannot have nothing but this one. Students must see this activity completed. Okay. You can also define an expected completion date, and this will appear on the student calendar and on the student dashboard. But I guess in BIMCERT project, this doesn't make any sense. So I will disable this, and I will save and return to the course. And finally, it's no longer a straight line; it's a dotted line. Correct for you too? You changed it to a dotted line. Okay, so I would suggest you to change also the book. So change the book to automatic completion tracking.
Okay, so the options of the conditions are met will differ depending on the type of thing that you have. If you have a page or a book,
yes,
it's just a view. But if you have, for example, a quiz, or if you have a lesson with activities to be done, there will appear more options.
Yeah, let's have a look at the quiz. Let's edit the quiz settings and set up the quiz activity completion.
Oh yeah, and there's more stuff. Yeah. Requires pass. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so here you can. Students must receive a grade to complete this activity. And after you select this, you can require a passing grade. Remember, you define the passing grade here on the grade.
Yes.
Okay. So until he has the passing grade, he won't be able to see the activity as completed. But imagine that he has 3 attempts. So this is a dead end. If he has 3 attempts and he cannot get the passing grade, he just is blocked. He cannot move forward. So you have here this safety option, or all the available attempts are completed. So if he reaches the 3rd attempt and fails, he doesn't have the passing grade, he will have the activity completed. He did his best, but yeah, so you have this option if you want to use it. Because imagine that you have...
Oh, yeah, okay. Attempts in terms of doing the quiz, okay.
Yeah, the quiz attempts are the attempts.
Yeah, okay.
Right? Otherwise, imagine that the next activity was conditional to this being completed.
Yeah, you can proceed on the course. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So, we haven't seen the forums, but the forum is really interesting. I'm just going to show you. I have here a forum, and you have too, the announcements forum. And the activity completion for the forum. This shows the variability of the conditions that you show here. So you can have the required grade also, because the forum can be graded. You can have the student must post discussions or replies. Student must create discussions and student must post replies. For instance, student has to post at least 3 discussions or replies, and of these 3, 1 must be a discussion, at least 1 must be a discussion, and 1 must be a reply. So he cannot post 3 replies or 3 discussions. He has to post at least 1 discussion and 1 reply, and then 1 of the other to get the 3. Okay. So activity completion will vary by activity depending on the way the activity works. Okay, and sometimes it's a little bit difficult to change all the settings for a lot of activities. So it's time to talk about this course completion setting here, course completion. So when you are on the course main page and you click the wheel, you have this course completion setting. Let's all have a look at this. So besides activity completion, you can define also course completion conditions. And this is a final completion for the course. And I will specify for the course to be completed, student has to complete, select all the activities that are configured with activity completion. So I selected all here. He has to complete all, otherwise the course won't be completed. And now I have here other conditions. He may have to complete other courses previously.
Okay.
Date doesn't make any sense for you, but the course will only be completed after a specified date. Enrollment and enrollment, this doesn't make many sense. The course grade maybe, so require a course grade. You must have at least 75 points to complete the course. And finally, if I want, the teacher has to also manually confirm that he has completed the course. So this may not make sense for you, but the course completion is something that may be configured, and sometimes it's really important to be configured because you can have reports on who completed the course or not. So I'm going to save changes. Okay, now I'm going to show you here as an admin, which has a password that okay, here as an admin, I'm going here to the course. And once you configure completion, you have here access to some reports. Where are the reports about the completion? They are accessible here on the Actions menu. When I'm on the course page, I click the wheel. And I go here to this More link. And then I click here on Reports. And here I have the activity completion and the course completion. Let me check here at activity completion. And here we will see who has completed the quiz, who has not completed the quiz. So we can check here all the students that have been participating on the course, okay? And the ones that have expected date will appear here, the expected date. Now let's check the course completion report. The course completion report only includes the activities that have been selected plus the other conditions here. 50% grade required and course complete is dependent on all the others. Okay?
So as an admin, you now there as an admin, you can't manually override. You can't simply go there and tick those boxes for a student, can you?
Yes, I can only on the activity tracking. That's why I told you can complete this, but you have to go to the activity completion report. And here, as a teacher, I can check these boxes and press save changes. Okay, so I can check this. Then I have to change the grades too for the student to get the grade. So these red ones were edited by me. So if I go now to the course completion report, I will get the same feedback. So here I will see these checked activities.
Okay. Computer first. That's how you can attribute the whole however the other has completed BIMCERT stuff. Not having to actually repeat the whole thing.
Okay, any question?
No.
Okay, finally I would just show you here some more that is usually hidden. People don't know that this exists, but sometimes it's really practical. Course completion. If I get back here to the course completion, there are here two tabs. One is the default activity completion. So I can change the default. Now everything that I create will be manual. And I'm sure I don't want manual for nothing. So I'm going to edit. I'm going to select all. Oh, there's no select all. I cannot. Activity resource here. I select all. And I'm going to edit all. And I'm going to change. Well, I have a problem here. There's a label on the course. I have to unselect the label. I have to go back, sorry. So I select all, and then I unselect. Where is the label? Labels. I have to unselect labels because I will only see the common options and labels don't have the automatic.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I select all, then unselect the labels, and now I can press Y. Can I select all, unselect the labels, press edit, and I put show activity as completed when conditions are met. And of course, some specific settings to assignments database have been hidden to view and select other activities. So when you edit, bulk edit, you don't have all options, but at least I could change them all to automatic. And then I will only have to adjust the ones that are quizzes and so on. So save changes, and I've just changed the defaults. Okay. And also you have the possibility to bulk edit all activity completion. For instance, I'm going to select this first page here, the folder, the PDF, the other folder, all these files that are still manual, and I can bulk edit them to automatic student must view, save changes. So you have here a lot of possibilities to make this easier to manage.
Away from this, Antonio, for example, if you have a module with a couple of pages and some quizzes, can you copy that content to another module?
Yes, you can. When you are here on a course page, you have here the wheel and you have the import feature.
Okay.
Once you click the import,
Then you pick what module you want to import it from, and then what content you want to import. Is that it?
Exactly. But I'm only teacher on this course, and you will have the same issue. If I
You can only import stuff from courses that you already are teacher.
Of course, otherwise you would have access to everything on the Moodle.
But if you're, what if you're an administrator? Won't you have access to everything?
You can copy every course.
Okay.
I can show you here. Here I'm admin, so I'm going to press import. So the course is here. I can import from your course some activity. Okay, any questions?
No.
So I guess this is it.
Just in terms of the terminology, you know, we're using grade and grading. Like, is this something in our methodology for BIMCERT that we were giving them a grade? We're talking more badges and that kind of thing, aren't we? Can we overwrite some of those settings?
Well, I don't remember, but to have some kind of badges or stars, you had to have a specific grade. For instance, a quiz, for you to have a 3-star on that quiz, you have to have a 80% grade. So the grade concept is already part of BIMCERT. So you would like to change the name?
Well, I'm just trying to see, is there a way to link our methodology and concepts to this Moodle platform?
Yes.
You know, is there a gamification threads and things like that?
Yeah.
Yes, we have that link defined on the BIMCERT model, and I don't have access to it because I don't teach here. So let me show you.
Right now, we are just seeing how to create the modules, but then you can attach the badges and the points and so on.
Yeah, because you define how many badges or how many points each activity has, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 When you define here, okay, let me just, this course, I believe it has no, the problem here is it has no edition, so that's why you cannot, but manage course gamification. Let me show here. So this course being ready, set up experience points. So percentage of stars, it's not here, she space stars, 10 points. If he completes the file, the quiz, she space stars, and you cannot define it here. So I guess it's here. Levels and ranks. Levels and ranks, it's here. So you have to have a grade between 0 and 50 to have 1 star. Between 50 and 70 to have 2 stars. Between, no, it's more than. Between 0 and 50, 0 stars. Between 50 and 70, 1 star. 70 and 90, 2 stars. Between 90 and 120, we'll get the 3 stars. So this is how the link between the grade and the stars and the gamification is done. Basically, is between the completion. If you complete something, you get experience points, you get accreditations, and depending on the way you complete it, depending on the grade, you get more or less stars. Okay, so this is the link. Everything that we have seen now, the completion applies to this. As you can see, I will show you here some sample course we had for BIMCERT. So the completion is configured for automatic. So the student has to complete this and complete this, okay? And the quiz grade has some stars. So we can check here, manage setup experience points. So this quiz has 3 stars. So depending on the grade he gets on the quiz, he will get 1, 0, 1, 2, or 3 stars, okay? And here is the badge. So the badge depends also on completion. So this is an extra information you have to set up when you are setting up the BIMCERT courses. It's the gamification points and the stars and so on.
Antonio, to set up the gamification features, we need to be the admin, isn't it?
Yeah.
The trainer cannot do it. Is it?
No, the trainer can do it, but the trainer must be related to the course.
To the course, okay.
And this course we are working. I created it manually. I didn't connect it to the BIMCERT project. So you don't have here the option to set up the gamification, okay? But if you create the course using the BIMCERT interface and then the teacher is attached to the course, everything will work as here. So you will have here the setup experience points. So the teacher will have access to the setup experience points. Manage BIMCERT is only for the admin. Manage BIMCERT is the overall interface. Only the admin has access to this, but the teacher will have access to this specific feature, setup experience points.
Can you limit to any teacher? Can you limit that control? So, for example, if you have a third-party trainer that doesn't belong to our consortium, but it's someone that has paid to be certified by BIMCERT and using the platform, can we limit his ability of changing that? So we, as the consortium, define the points and define that he's only teaching and he cannot change the points of each activity? Or as a teacher, if he belongs to a course, he can always do that? Is there any way of limiting options as an admin to some teachers?
There's a role which is non-editing teacher.
Okay.
But you won't be able to edit the course contents too. You will only be like the mentor for the students, will answer his questions, provide some grades if he has to grade like an assignment, but you won't be able to edit nothing, including the experience points.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, any more questions?
Any questions?
No.
No.
So we have more sessions. I believe, Antonio, there's still no date for the next sessions.
On the 10th, Tuesday?
No! No!
Whoa.
Because if you look at this morning's email, you see the conference call is the 10th.
On the 11th?
Hold on. Why don't we make it after the conference call on the same day? Just move it a wee bit later, Antonio, if that suited you.
On the 11th?
No, Antonio, number one. If we go with the 10th and make it from 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock Irish time, 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock CET.
Is that too short?
But Antonio 2, is that okay with you?
Well, it's from what would be the time?
How many hours do you need for session 2?
All the sessions have 4 hours. I think less than 4 hours it's so difficult to gather all the people. So
okay, so if we make it from 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock Irish time, what should be 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock Portugal? No, you're the same time, isn't it?
Yes.
You're the same time of Portugal.
You are there.
You're the same time zone.
But we can have it on the 11th.
Well, 11th,
At 10 o'clock.
11th, I have a training on the afternoon, and it's really too exhausting to have.
You do the 10th after the conference.
Let's do the 10th after the conference call.
Yes, that's okay for me.
What time, sorry?
Make it from 12 to 4.
When?
Well, why not 13 to 5, and we would have lunch before.
Yeah, I think it will be 11th.
I'm only worried about 2 seconds.
Oh yes, they are 1 hour.
Yes, Does that, what time suits you, Tony?
12 is okay for me.
12 to 4.5 to 4?
12 to 4, please.
And we'll have a lunch break, half an hour lunch break.
Okay, we'll do that.
12 to 16.
Do we have homework or?
No, there's no homework. We already have enough homework.
What's Portuguese for lanes? What's lanes? I do lanes in school.
Lingus.
What?
Lingus.
Lingus.
Antonio, number 1.
Yeah.
For you, Lingus.
Lingus.
Yes, it's aqueles. Quando andavas na primária tinhas que escrever aquelas linhas de texto.
Lingus, okay.
I must not call the teacher names.
Only never got videos, so he doesn't know what they are.
Okay. Okay, so I want you to write 20 times that the question behavior is very important for the quiz.
Okay.
Okay, I think your homework should be starting creating some content with these basic tools and starting organizing a course, because you will have questions, you will have doubts, you will have issues, and the next session would be really nice if in the beginning you had some questions and some doubts, or because this would make the training much more useful.
Okay. Antonio, I will email you tomorrow. I'm going to set up the schedule. The first 10 minutes feedback and review, and then we go on with the next session. Is that okay?
I didn't understand, sorry. Could you repeat?
Instead of just putting out an email saying training session, we'll add a bit of a schedule to it. First 15 minutes, half an hour is feedback from session 1 and review session 1, then go into session 2.
Okay.
Anybody else any questions? No. Okay, listen folks, thank you very much. Antonio, number 2, thank you very much indeed.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody any questions in the room?
No.
They're all sitting here. Antonio, you cannot see them, they're all sitting here with their eyes closed, pretending to be awake. Right, who else is still on the line?
Okay.